Hello, hello, my friends. My name is Megan, and this is Stories and Stitches. Welcome, welcome back to everyone who is returning. It is wonderful to have you with me today, and welcome to anybody who's new. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you'll stay. So it is currently Saturday, February the 10th that I am recording this, and this is Flosstube number 18. So I generally film on a Saturday. You may be seeing this Sunday this week. I am currently deciding if instead of posting Tuesdays, if I want to post on the Sunday, because typically I film on a Saturday, I get it all edited on the Saturday. So I could post it by the Sunday. I've been holding off and doing on Tuesdays because that's what I've been doing. And I feel like it allows me consistency. If, say, I don't get filming until a Sunday, then you don't have to wait a day to see it. So my question for you is, do you prefer to consistently see videos go up on the same day for someone, or does it really not matter at all to you? Let me know. I'd be curious to know. I know what my answer is for the most part, but it'll help me decide what I might want to do, or at least give me something to consider. Anyway, so you may be seeing this on Sunday, you may be seeing this on Tuesday, you may be seeing it 3 months from now. Either way, I'll stop rambling. Thank you for joining me. We are gonna get right to it. So I did this the last time. I'm gonna keep the any life updatey chatty bits to the end in the story section. So if you want to join me for that, I would love to have you. But if not, we're going to get right into the stitching. So this may actually be, I say this frequently, but this may be a pretty short video unless I get super chatty, because I have only worked on 3 projects since I saw you last. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't had a lot of stitchy progress. I've just been very much focused on 1 or 2 things, 1 project at a time, which is where, for me, it happens. But I've been on a bit of a kick that way. So will that continue? Most likely not. Am I enjoying it? For right now, I have been, yes. So what are those 3 projects, you might ask? Well, let's take a look. So first off, and I believe the last time I talked to you, I told you that I was probably going to keep working on this one. But this is Half the Fun by Ink Circles. And it is, what am I trying to say? I've lost my train of thought already. Half the Fun by Ink Circles. I am working on this in such a way that I've split it up. So last year I finished the first quarter, and then my plan is to finish a quarter each quarter going forward. So obviously that would then make me done by the early fall and would give me a little bit of wiggle room. I got on a bit of a roll with this one though, and very briefly considered working on it more, like outside of this quarter, but we'll see. It's on pause right now, but so this is what it will look like. This is what the pattern looks like here. This is where it was the last time that you saw it. And this, let me make sure I have it. Ooh, first of all, this needle is trying to get me. It's a very sharp, pointy needle. This is where it is now. So I have finished I did 1,025 stitches on it since you last saw it, and that has brought me to 53%. So I'm doing this as a paper pattern. I may be slightly off with my count, because what I did was I kind of figured out how much I had done in this most recent quarter, how many stitches were in it. And then I figured out how many stitches were in it, which kind of times by 4 will mean how much is in the whole pattern, plus a little bit that's only in one, and then how much had I done in the other quarters. Because as you can see, I have this balloon down here and this little boat that's in one of the future quarters that was also done. So it probably shouldn't have been as difficult to calculate as I made it. It took me a little bit, but as far as I know, I am at 53% done on this one. There it is there. If you are new here, I am doing this on a 14 count Picture This Plus that I can never remember the name of. I need you know, I say I'll do better with keeping track of my fabrics, and I'm trying to. 14 count blue of some kind by Picture This Plus, and I am doing it with pearl cotton. So I'm doing it with DMC and hand dyed by Rolanda pearl cotton, and I'm doing, it's pearl cotton 5 is what I'm using on that. So that is, I'm loving this. I was actually on a real roll and having a lot of fun doing it. I find now that I don't have to think about which color I'm going to use where, that helps it go a little bit quicker. One thing I was concerned about is that I don't have enough of my hand dyed by Rolanda in it, like my variegated. It's only on a few specific transportation methods because I was so worried about running out of it, but I think that'll be okay. I like the color balance. I kind of wish I had picked a few more modes of transportation to be in that one, but I am happy with it. So I'm really happy with how that one's turning out. It is on pause right now to come out, what is that, January, February, March, April again. So if I run across a prompt, though, that is like, work on something with vehicles. Oh, remember I told you how there's a super sharp pointy needle on there? Just put that super sharp pointy needle right into my hand. That was fun. That was quite fun. Anyways, yeah. So if I come across a prompt in my Fandom Stitching Central that is for an automobile or stitch on something you can travel, then I may pull that one out again before April. But otherwise, in theory, that one is on pause until April. Okay, so that was my first one, and I did that right after I saw you last. So I kind of worked on that for 2 or 3 days right after my last video to get done where I needed to get done. Which brought us into the very end of January and me knowing that the Fandom Stitching like extra challenge for February was going to be a full coverage focus. So any full coverage projects that I work on in January, I get to count them for a prompt. So either a monthly or a weekly prompt. And then on top of that, I also get 5 points per 100 stitches just for it being on full coverage, which I think I talked about in my last video. So with that in mind, I was like, okay, well, is there a full coverage I want to work on? I don't remember if I pulled this one up because there was a certain prompt I wanted it for, or if I was just kind of in the mood for it. But I pulled out, the very end of January, I pulled out Gamer Nouveau by Medusa Dollmaker, charted by GeckoRouge. I pulled that out and started working on it. And then I just kept working on it for pretty much the whole time. The last 2 weeks, mostly, I have been working on this one. I've been stitching. So here is what it will look. Oh, actually, no, I have that here. So I'm hoping that this will not be too glary. So we'll see how that goes. So here is what it will look like. Yeah, I may need to, I was kind of hoping to not have to pull it out because it can be a pain, but okay, there is what it will look like when it is finished. I am doing it on 28. I don't remember if I think I'm doing it on 28 count gridded fabric, 1 thread over 1. And here is what it looked like the last time that you saw it. And let's see if I can get it all. Here is what it looks like now. So I think I had mentioned the last time that I was considering doing the outlining like I had done on my winter jackalope. I was thinking about doing that because I really liked how, I don't know, it just makes it so much easier. Oh, I feel more drawn to it because it has something going on differently. And I had been having a hard time because I was finding that the outlining wasn't as consistent. So it's done in 2 different colors instead of just all black or whatnot. But I figured out a way to make it work. Like I think I had to do a few stitches in dark brown to get it going. And then I have been doing basically extreme cross country for black, to do as much of that outlining as I can, which is kind of what led me to wanting to keep working on it. So A, it counts for my full coverage points. B, I am on a roll with the outlining, and I just love how it makes it look like something. Does that make sense? Like, it now looks like it has something going on and feels like progress is being made. Even though doing all this is definitely progress, it just feels a little bit different. And I feel like I'm going to be able to work on border or background a little easier now that I have sort of some of this outlining done. So my current plan is to keep doing this outlining. Will I continue working on this the next couple weeks? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But when I do pick it up, it will be to work on that black outlining, keep trucking along on that until it's done. So I don't know if that'll bring black down to 0 because there's a few that are in really awkward spots to get to. But bring black down as much as I can, get that as outlined as I can, and then go from there. I am probably, like, I'm going to have to put up a system where it's like, okay, you can work on this much of the picture, this much of the background, because as much as it would be nice to just do background at the end because you're mostly just fill in at that point other than the stars, I feel like if I get to the point where I just have to do that background, that would get boring quick. So I'm going to try and like bounce back and forth. Once I get the outline done, I'll bounce back and forth between background and picture. But I am loving how this is coming together now. This is one of the things I'm really enjoying so far. I don't know if all of theirs are like this, but for these 2 GeckoRouge kits that I've been really working on, I'm enjoying that ability to outline in that way and see it come together. So I have done, what have I done? 3,518 stitches on that one since you saw it last. So see what I mean? I might not have worked on a lot, but I've done a lot on the projects I've worked on. So that has brought me up to 4.83% on that one, which I've been watching in my Stitch Pal. I've been watching the years it's going to take me to do it steadily come down. So I think I was up in like 2054 at one point. I think I'm down to 2036 or 37, or am I in the 40s? I can't remember. I honestly set my desk up to film today in like kind of a rush and haven't paid too much attention to it. So I feel like everything is everywhere, but it's working. And I just want to check to see. So I'm down to 2045. I thought it was still in the 40s. 2045, but I think I've cut off almost 10 years. Hopefully I can keep on doing that because I don't want it to take till 2045. I want it to be faster. But that's what happens when you want to work on too many projects and too many big projects. I know someone in my comments had mentioned, and I still need to, as of right this minute, I still need to respond to you, but I should be in shortly, mentioned that it was like, I think that I was ambitious having so many big projects. And my initial thought was like, I don't know if it's ambitious or foolishness, but either way, it's fun. So, is what it is, right? Okay, that was Gamer Nouveau, and that is what I have been working on the most and may continue to work on. We'll see how it goes because my next project is a new start, which obviously I needed, right? Totally needed a new start with all these big projects I already have going on. But yesterday was the new moon, and I still kind of do a new moon new start because I have a lot of projects that I can start and fabric and projects I want to start. And part of me wants to wait until I've finished other ones before swapping new ones in. And part of me is like, well, I have the fabric ready and I have the pattern already. So, which I mean, I say that, but there's also ones that I don't have fabric or pattern for, but anyways, this one that I started for New Moon New Start is Winter Belle. Unfortunately, I don't know who the artist is. Let me have a look here. The artist on Winter Belle is... Okay, it doesn't say oh, here. So artwork so this one is charted by Tilton Crafts. So it is a Tilton Crafts piece, and it is the annual artwork is by Daniel Decazu Kordak. And let's see if I can get, I'm going to put a picture in. So is there going to be, oh, okay. So that is what it will look like. The chart in Pattern Keeper has sort of all the white around the background to make it square. But I've marked those all off because I'm not stitching. I'm stitching it on white, so I'm not going to do the white background. But I have started in, this is the pattern I've actually had for a while now, but I've started in on it. I thought it would be a good new start for February, even though it's actually felt more like spring here. Whatever, winter Belle. It's more winter now than it will be in a couple months. So that's the one I started on. I started on it last night. I believe it does have enough stitches to count for my full coverage. February, even with the white crossed off and not being done. So this is where it is. You see that? Yes. Okay. So it is looking a little bit strange. Basically, I wasn't really sure where I wanted to start on this one. It's smaller as well. So, but I thought that I would start on some of the background, which turns out is a few different shades of blue-gray. But I picked the one that had the most stitches, and that is what I have been working on and doing extreme cross-country. It doesn't feel as extreme cross-country because it's pretty little, but that is where I am at. So I've done, I think, probably not quite half of the stitches in this color. I'll come down. I'm down almost. I've almost done this whole side of it. You can see my thread hanging here. It was bedtime. I had to put it away, so I didn't quite finish that section. But and then I'll start back up at the top and work down around this side. I have done 667 stitches on that one. I think I still have about 1900 in that color to do, but that was 2.44%. So I crossed off in my Pattern Keeper, my percentage is at like 40 something because I crossed off all that white. But in my Stitch Pal, I actually figured out how many stitches are left. So the percentage will go based on how many stitches I will actually be stitching. So that is 2.44%. And yeah, I'm really happy with that one. We'll see. I mean, will I work on this tonight or Gamer Nouveau or something else? Who knows? As of right now, I'm thinking I'll work on this because part of me would really like to get all of that color done before I put it away. But we shall see, because we shall see. I mess that up so often. I say it so often, mess it up so often, and I feel like I'm saying sushi when I do it. But I am enjoying there's something about color completing when it makes sense. Color completing doesn't always work and doesn't always make sense for me, but I have been finding there is a satisfaction in doing color completing. And I think for some of these bigger projects or even within smaller ones, it's that little hit of like, oh, I finished a thing. Even if it's only, one color and I still have thousands of stitches left, it's still really nice. So I've been enjoying that when I can do it. It does not work for all my projects, but I mean, I'd probably make it work, but it doesn't in my brain. Anyways, hey, I have a shorter video today. Let me ramble to fill up the rest of the 30 minutes. Stop, Megan. Okay. Yeah, so that's everything that I have worked on in the last couple weeks. Plans for next month is basically to just continue on. I do have plans. I am getting closer to starting in on a Dungeons and Dragons-esque quest type story for cross stitch. I am getting closer. We're in a better brain space to do it. I'll get into that in a little bit. So we're getting closer to that. But for now, it's just going to keep on keeping on. There's a couple non-full coverages I'd like to work on, but since I can get so many points for full coverage right now, I'm probably going to end up focusing most of my attention there because I do also, as I said, want to work on more full coverage this year. So that's how I'm continuing. Full coverage, and maybe a few diversions here, there, and wherever as I go. I am going away next weekend, which of course means that my Northern Nights will come out. It doesn't count as full coverage, unfortunately, but it will get some work on it next weekend. And other than that, we'll see how it goes. So that it did I? No, I was suddenly wondering if I had worked on something else since I saw you last, but I don't think I did because there was spooky stitching kind of for the 31st, but I think I was on a roll with Nouveau, so I was like, I'm just gonna do this and pretend it's spooky. Okay, that is my plans because there's not too many of them. I am going to show you before we move into stories, which I think is, have I missed anything? No? Okay, so I haven't worked on any other crafts, as I said. Last time I was on a kick with my orange blanket and I kind of fell off of that because I got on a kick with Nouveau. So it's fickle. That crafting fairy, she's a fickle one. I am going to show you a couple of my mom's finishes right now. She's been working on some smalls and getting quite a few finished. So the first two you'll notice are basically the same kind of, because she is going on a trip with someone and she's made a little one for each of them. They're going to Ireland and she kind of wanted a little something to make. So she made, this one here is actually fully finished. So this is, I can't remember what it really is called, but it's the Sheep by Darling and Whimsy Design. So it's a sheep in the Quirky Quaker series by Darling and Whimsy. And she has made it into a bag. So it's done on a mystery green fabric that I think we've had for forever. So I don't actually even know what brand it is, but both of them are done on that. As you can see, one of them is a fully finished little bag pouch, and one of them is not quite done. So first one, kind of that little half-lined pouch in here, little lining. You can't really see, the lining was sort of a scrap from a table runner that I made. And then we had picked up a scraps bag, I guess, from Fat Quarter Shop a while back. And so the back of both bags is that fabric. So this was from the scrap bag, and then the inside lining is this, and also this was from a table runner I made last year. Had bits left over. So those are the first two that she's finished. One is fully finished, one is not quite. And the other one is by Hands On Design. It was their like her anniversary freebie from last year. Actually, I haven't even checked to see if the new one is out yet. I can't remember when it goes out. That should be soon. But she did, this one was last year's, and it was Love You, I think. And she's done that on pink. I think it's another mystery pink, because we had a few that like my grandma had picked up at a thrift store or somewhere a while back, and I don't actually remember what they are. Maybe like they might be DMC or yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Mystery fabrics, but she has finished all three of those in the last few weeks, actually. Yeah, I think the last few weeks. So that is it for the stitching, I think. As I said, I know I felt like I was rambling, but it is quite a bit of a shorter video today, because I've been kind of monogamous stitching lately-ish. I mean, I had 3 projects, but very focused for me. So if you are just here for the stitching, then thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Let me know in the comments what you've been working on. Were you working on anything while you watched? Were you doing something else altogether? Let me know. If you do not want to stick around for my stories and life update section, then I will say goodbye to you now, and I will see you next time. For everyone else, let us head on over. So, life update and stories. Life update, I guess the last couple weeks since I saw you last, pretty much consistently since I saw you last. I think I was finishing up sort of something at work that had been a bit rough, and then that last week of January was rough, mentally rough. I don't do that great when there's no sun, and where I live in January, we had only 17 hours of sun, 17 hours of sun for the entire month. And December was also very gray. So it's been a very, very gray couple of months with very little sunshine. And I think for 2 weeks, I don't think we saw the sun at all. So mentally, it was not super, which translated into that I did cross stitch, but I didn't want to work on a lot. Like, it's hard to do creative stuff when you're blah, very blah feeling. Good news is last weekend the sun came out and we have had a very sunny week. So there's been gray times, but it's been very sunny, which has helped so much. And the calendar turned over from January to February. So the longest month ever of January is in the past. February has arrived. It has been sunny. It has been wonderful. So this past week was still a bit half and half in the getting back up and out of those sort of winter blues. But yeah, it's feeling a lot better. The last few days feel a lot better. I've had a few other things still going on that are taking up brain space, but I think we're getting places. So I'm very hopeful that in the next little bit, there'll be more me doing story things or me doing creative work, because that's what I want to do. So that is kind of where we're at with that. And, before we know it, we'll be halfway through February. We are very close to being halfway through February. Scary. I always get a little bit nervous at this time of year because I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not doing any of the things that I wanted to be doing. But I just need to learn to accept that sometimes January is hard and we can get going after that, right? There's still a lot of time left in this year to keep going. So that's where we're at with that, which means I haven't done a lot of story stuff, but I also haven't read a lot because I kind of got in a bit of a sort of a slump-ish where I wasn't really sure what I wanted to read. I've been listening to podcasts, realm fictional podcasts. I think I was mostly listening to The Well, and then I was in a training class, so I hadn't listened to a lot. So I did listen to The Well by Realm, which I really enjoyed. I don't think it's my favorite of theirs, but I did really enjoy that one quite a lot. And then earlier this week, I started listening to an audiobook. So I started listening to Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I will put a picture of that in here. And I'm really enjoying it. It has been so hyped. I know book 2 is out now or almost out. It was so hyped. It sounded right up my alley, but also I get sometimes I can get weird about hyped books and I'm like, oh, do I want to read it? I don't know. But I finally has been available as an audiobook. I wasn't reading anything else. I thought, let's jump in. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the pace of it. Is it, the best book I've ever read? Probably not, but I love it. Like I'm really, it's captured my interest and I'm having fun with it. And I think I don't know if it's classified as YA, but because it's like at least part of it is set in a school setting, basically. Dragon Rider School, a very, very dangerous school environment, because basically they have to go through trials to find out if they will be able to pass to become a dragon rider and get chosen by their dragon. And the concept is just great. I'm having fun with it. I love the idea about getting chosen by a dragon. To have a connection with a dragon. I love that. I love dragons. I love that concept. So it's working great. There's a few random things that aren't my absolute favorite about the writing style. But that doesn't always matter. right? Not every book has to check every single one of the boxes, but this one is checking a whole lot of fun, super engaging, so I'm right into it. Oh, excuse me, I have hiccups. Super engaging, so I'm very into it. So right now, I'm trying to float around in books to find things that capture my interest and get me back into that flow of taking in stories and not getting stuck on anything that will sort of put me into a slump. So I'm trying to jump around a little bit more than I might normally. If a book doesn't pull me in, I'm not beating myself too much up about it if I move on to something else and go back to the other one later. So I think sometimes you just got to do that. You got to know where you are and what's working for you and your brain at the time. So that's what I've been reading. I think that's it. Shows and movies, there's nothing new, I don't think. I've been on a little bit of an like old school animated. So like I watched Anastasia one day multiple times. I've watched Atlantis. I started watching Treasure Planet. But outside of that, just still working through Murdoch Mysteries and been watching Criminal Minds as my background distract my brain show. And so that's everything for shows and movies. I don't think there's been anything else. And games, I was kind of paused on games as well for a little while there, partially because I didn't know what I wanted to play. There's also a lot of games that I really want to play on Steam, but haven't wanted to sit at my desk to do. I am hoping sometime in the next couple months to get a Steam Deck, which I think will help me play some of those ones a little bit more, but I digress. I was stuck between trying to decide what I wanted to play. So I didn't know what I wanted to play, so I wasn't playing anything. I kind of wanted to restart Stardew Valley, but I wasn't sure, so I just didn't play anything. And then I was finally like, I'm going to take the plunge and just restart it because that's what I want to play. But my first run through of Stardew, I think I'm up to like year 3, but I was just getting into it and getting used to it, and I feel like there's a few things I rushed. So a few things I didn't focus as much as I should have or want to have on, and some things I rushed. So I've restarted a new save on Stardew, and because I know a little bit about it, I'm able to approach it different. So there's some things I've slowed down on. I'm not like rushing as much. I'm not rushing to find out all the things, rushing to find who I want to be in a relationship with. I've just slowed down. So I'm in summer. I'm almost at the end of summer of year 1, and I'm focused on just making money, getting my farm how I want it to be, like getting my farm going, getting my animals, because I really like having the animals. So I just got a chicken coop yesterday. Built my barn. I got to buy some cows. I went to buy some cows, and Marnie had closed up at like 1 o'clock. The nerve of some people. Uh, so that's what I'm working on those kind of things and doing the community center. So I thought, let's try and focus on getting those community center things done. So that's what I've been playing, and I've been loving it. That has been I've jumped back into it last weekend and have been pretty much focused on that this week. I did start to go through a few. Steam Next Fest is on right now. It goes till the 12th. So if this goes up tomorrow, you could go check it out. But basically, there's a whole lot of demos. So hundreds of demos available right now on Steam that might not otherwise be available for upcoming games. So I have a few checkmarked that I want to play on there. I played one yesterday that was called, I can't remember what it was called right now. I'll see if I can if I remember, I'll put it in here, but it was kind of like a town management. It was super cute. It was really adorable. It didn't quite, what am I trying to say? I did enjoy it. It was very cute. It was very adorable. But I don't know if it'll be one I buy. I loved it. I think a lot of people will like it. I think it's a little slow for me, I think is maybe what it was, but not slow enough that it can be background. Too focusy that you have to focus, but a little slow that I'm kind of on it. And I think it looks like it's not going to be that long either. So but that was that one. I have a few other ones. There's one that I want to play today. I'm hoping called Open Air that has owls. I think it's like an open air music festival being created by an owl, and, I'm here for that. I love owls, I love hippos. There's, like, an old retro clunky hippo game that's also has a demo in Steam right now, and, like, I am all for it. So, that's where we are on games, and, yeah, I think that might be everything. As I mentioned earlier, I am hopefully getting closer to doing something fun quest-wise for cross stitch, but, we'll get there. One step at a time, one creative step at a time. But I think I will say goodbye. This video might actually end up under 30 minutes or just over 30 minutes, which is crazy. But thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad that you stopped by. I hope that you enjoyed something, and I hope that going into the rest of February, you have a wonderful month. Get lots of stitching done, and just, yeah, enjoy the rest of February as much as you are able. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.